If you're new to blogging, it can feel like the sky is falling all the time. You go to Search Engine Journal or Moz and you see the things that they're writing about. Oh, there's an update that hit this, or this person lost half of their traffic. Well, it's just not the real normal experience of a blogger to see wild fluctuations in traffic. In fact, almost a decade into blogging, and a lot of that time full time, I've never been hit by a Google penalty. And I'm not saying that it never will happen. I'm not impervious to changes in technology and Google. I make tons of mistakes like everybody else. The reason that I say that is that you just shouldn't expect that things are going to go crazy and feel afraid of starting an online business because of it. That's just not the normal case for a blogger.
Yeah, fear is the number one thing that holds people back. But if we can understand what it is that Google's actually trying to do, we can get a pretty clear picture of where they're going, and we can be prepared for that. In fact, Google gives us that every time. They always tell us what to do, and if we'll listen, we won't be penalized by algorithm updates. So let's take a little bit of a look at the history of some of these algorithm updates over the last few years that have been big ones that have hurt a lot of people. And by a lot, it's still a very small fraction of the internet, but it hurts some people quite a bit.
So a lot of this data is coming from Moz.com. They have a great timeline that you can look at of when the updates were. The first one we want to talk about is Panda. This is February 23, 2011. People still talk about this almost a decade later. And this hit thin content and link wheels. You know, a 300-word blog post, a simple forum that had one response that wasn't that good, just very thin content, and people were doing tricky link exchange things between their own websites and stuff, and they got hit.
Yep. The next one was April 24th, 2012. This one was called Penguin. It was another huge one. And this one hit keyword stuffing was a big one, and over-optimization. So people that were kind of trying to trick Google, trying to get their rankings higher just by stuffing their keyword over and over and over again in an article, well, Google got wise to that.
In August 2013, we saw starting a move towards semantic search. So if you wrote a blog post on Ford F-150 accessories, and the search was for cool F-150 mods, well, you could still show up for that same search result because Google got better at understanding the user intent of those words and not the specific keywords that they typed in.
1 year later, Google started giving just a slight preference to secure sites. So having that SSL does make a little bit of a difference. But even today, it's still only kind of a slight preference.
In 2014 and 2015, we saw first a change to pirate sites. We saw the pirate update where things that were taken copyright from other websites, stealing blog posts and things like that. Those websites were hurt. And then we also had Mobilegeddon, where if you hadn't mobile optimized your website, you also dropped in the rankings for mobile searches.
Right. Also in 2015, we saw Rankbrain. This is a big one. This is where Google started to look at the way that users behave on the website, how long they spend on the website, do they quickly leave and go look somewhere else, do they click through? All of that sort of user interaction data started to be a big ranking factor for Google.
Yep, and then we saw the snippet length increase in 2017. And again, it was like, this guy is falling. Google's not going to link people to our blog posts anymore. They're just going to show the content right on the page. And guess what? Everything was fine. In fact, if you're doing your content well, now you can rank twice on the same search page. It's fantastic. And they've later changed that, shortened it back up, and changed different things. But snippets really started to come on the scene more and more that year.
Yep. And then in March 2018, the slowest mobile sites especially, but the slowest websites got a little bit of a hit to their rankings. And when we say that, we're not saying that faster websites always rank higher than slightly slower websites. It was more like kind of the bottom 20% or so of websites, the slowest websites on the internet, they got hit in the rankings. The rest of us are doing pretty well. So big key learning there, just don't be the slowest on the internet.
And that brings us up to now. August 1, 2018, there was this update. We heard a lot of buzz about it. This happens, a couple times a year. There will be a more major one. And this one appears to have hit more what we call YMYL websites. Your money, your life is what Google calls this. And if I Google something like heart attack symptoms. My left arm is numb and I think I might be having a heart attack. Google doesn't want to even take a chance of sending me to Bob's blog, who's going to tell me to go smell some peppermint oil and go to sleep for the night. They want to send me to the renowned cardiologist who will give me reliable information about that. If I'm moving my 401k, left a company, I'm moving my 401k, Google wants to make sure that I go to a tax accountant who knows the answer to that question, because Google can't read the text and know if that's right. They're not comparing your post to the tax code. They just want to make sure you're an authority on that topic so that you'll probably have the information right. So if you're writing about your money or your life kind of content, those websites were especially hit if you have just no authority to be writing about those kind of topics. So what does that mean for us? It means we needed to reevaluate. We're not really writing about those topics, but it's something that we said, even if we're writing about a hobby like campers or dirt bikes, we should at least have an about page. It may be wise to write 2 or 3 guest posts on other blogs, just so our name is known as in the industry. Maybe to publish an ebook that we have on the website, put it up on Amazon so people say we have a book on this topic. Things like that. Just make some very basic adjustments to make sure we have authority. Now again, none of our websites were hit by this. We're not writing about any kind of medical stuff on our websites, but it's something to be aware of that Google is starting to value this. So you can see what we're doing. We're seeing what changes have happened, and we're just trying to say, what does this mean? What is Google trying to do for the users that we can help to make sure it happens?
And I think that's the important thing for us to look at as we looked at this timeline. You saw in the early days, Google was just trying to wipe out the really spammy stuff.
Links, thin content.
Exactly. And today, Google is most focused on the user experience, giving them more as reliable information as they can, and making sure that the user has the experience that they're looking for. If Google can do that, then Google's done its job. And they're going to keep pushing in that direction. Now, how are we supposed to know what Google's going to do? How are we supposed to know what is going to penalize our site and what's going to help our site rank really well in the future? Well, as Google has done in the past, they're actually giving us the map, except they've given us probably the best map they ever have.
Too good of a map, in fact. That's the problem. So they have this document. It's 200 pages long that they wrote for their quality checkers. They go to websites and actually look at them.
Yeah, over 6 million manual,
actions on websites.
Yeah, that they've taken on websites to adjust where they fall in the rankings based upon these things in the 200-page document. And now they've made that available to all of us.
Yeah, exactly. So it leaked online first. One of the quality checkers leaked it, and then Google just said, you know what? Everybody should just see this. You should just know how to make a better website.
And we've gone through that document line by line. We know what's in there, and we want to share that with you in a way that's going to make it easier for you to actually implement on your website. So on August 29th at noon Mountain Time, we're going to host a webinar on YouTube Live where you can show up and you're going to listen to us talk about step-by-step what you should do to make sure that your website is not hit by future algorithm updates. To sign up for that webinar, go to incomeschool.com/webinar. Register there. Obviously, you don't need to register to see us on YouTube Live, but by registering, you'll get the reminder email to remind you of when that's going to be, as well as a document we're going to put together that simplifies the 200-page document.
You'll only get that if you register.
Exactly, and we're going to give you more of a step-by-step action plan for how you can help future-proof your website.
And we'll also link to that 200-page document if you have a really boring life that you want to read a 200-page document. You can get that in the description of this video. So 2019, what algorithm updates do we expect to see?
Yeah, well, we've seen a trend in just greater use of artificial intelligence. Google has their AI, Apple has Siri, Amazon has Alexa, and they're trying to provide answers to questions, solutions to problems, just in a really quick, fast way. Well, Google's doing that as well with their snippets. Winning the snippet is going to get more and more important. Obviously, if somebody just wants the quick answer and they get that in a snippet, they may not read the article, but that's going to happen anyway. There's no getting around that. But by winning the snippet, when somebody reads that and gets the answer, but they want more information, the likelihood that they'll click on the snippet itself as the first article that they go read is fairly high.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so to be clear, the snippet, it appears in position 0, and then you still have all whatever 10
The
rankings there. So the quality of your page ranks in the top 10. But if you just have the best 2-sentence summary, bang, you get the snippet. And sometimes we've seen plenty of our posts that get position 0, the snippet, and position 1. You just kill the search engine ranking. It's fantastic.
Well, and what does that tell the users? It is for this question, this is the website.
Yeah.
This is where I need to go. And look, we recently released a new video in Project 24 that just
snippet
explains
optimization.
How to win the snippet. It's just killer, helpful content because, again, if you can win that position 0 and then position 1 or even position 2, by having that position 0, you're kind of the default winner.
Yeah, we got some ninja tips in that video. That's, I think, probably my favorite training in all of Project 24. Like, snippets are only getting bigger, and that snippet optimization video is awesome in that course. I'm happy with that one. All right, next is video. If you are ignoring video, the train is taken off right now. There's never been a better time to be getting involved in video. It's not a replacement for text. People have read for thousands of years.
And will continue to do so.
And will continue to do so. But video is showing up on search engine results more and more. And so if you're completely ignoring that train, you're missing a huge opportunity.
Yep. The next one is the user experience. We've talked about that a little bit as we talked about the different updates Google's made over time. Having the best user experience possible is only going to help your rankings more and more as you go forward. Google cares about how people behave when they go to your website. If you have not answered the question that somebody's looking for at the very beginning of your post, people will bounce. People think that, oh, well, I should bury the answer further down so they'll stay on my page longer. That is wrong. What do you do when you go to a website?
Preach it, brother, preach it.
What do you do when you Google something and this article is like, oh, it answers my question. You click on it, you read like 4 paragraphs, and they're not even close to answering the question.
I'm out of here.
You're gone. That's what you probably do. That's what I do. So put the answer at the beginning and then give people a reason to stay. Format your article in a way that it's easy to scan through and find the information people are looking for. The better experience you give to users, the better you will rank on Google because of how people will behave on your website.
Yep, and the last one is speed. It's been a factor for a long time, but you can only see it getting more of a factor as more people are searching just on mobile, and as some pages are getting faster and faster. AMP is something that we've definitely been watching carefully and seeing. We've decided that it's not the right time for our websites because it does hurt ad earnings big time. But the technology is getting more and more promising. And so again, it's something that we watch. Right now, we just make sure that our page is loading in about the top 20% of all the search engine results, and we feel confident with that. But it's one that we continually watch, see if we need to implement the new technology or things as we go. And if you want to make your website faster, you gotta check out our video. It's just a 30-minute exact step-by-step, do this to your WordPress website. And I guarantee if you implement those things, you will be in the top 20% in terms of page speed on your websites.
And I want to clarify something. The video isn't even 30 minutes long. The whole process to speed up your site will only take you about 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's just...
That's it. And it won't cost you anything.
It's easy to do.